Hello my dear students, welcome to everybody. In the previous class, I have discussed about a lesson of first paper for class 8 and you know that it was unit 5 lesson 1 and you also know the name of the lesson, that was beginning. And like the other day, I would like to request you to take all of your necessary equipments for your study purpose like your textbook, your exercise book and a pen, and please start our today's journey. My dear students, all of you have remembered that in our last class our topic was finished by some multiple choice in the section A, and now I would request you to open at page number 46. Okay, in this page, in the section B, you can see that there is a table or matching. Now you will have to match it, and for answering it, you should read all the phrases in both sides very carefully and minutely. By this way, when you have read that very carefully, it is not very difficult to you to find the answers. Okay? Let's see the answer. My dear students, the first phrase is day-to-day life. You know that day-to-day life is synonymous to everyday life. So, day-to-day life means everyday life that we have passed or we are passing. Number 2, the theme is household work. Dear learners, from the previous class, you have known some new words in your textbooks, and you know that the word chores means the work. So, here the phrase household work means domestic chores. Number 3, here you can see that the thing is cruel aspects of life. Have you any idea of the word cruel? Yes, I think all of you have the idea that cruel means the unkind or the unhappy happenings, the unpleasant happenings of one's life. So, here the word or phrase cruel aspect of life means unkind happenings in life. Number 4, come out as a winner. Dear learners, we get the affinity between come out as a winner and the word and the phrase become victorious. Victorious word comes from the word victory. That means the person who gains victory is called victorious. So, come out as a winner is synonymous to the word become victorious. The phrase number 5 is all the oats of life. I have told you from the previous class that oats means hardship, difficulties in life. So, all the oats of life is a result for difficulties of life. Number 6, and lastly the number 6 is typical Bangladeshi village. You have also known the meaning of the word typical from the previous class, and their phrase is the typical Bangladeshi village. My dear learners, you know that the word of typical means common, usual. So, here there is a match with the phrase having all the regular features of a Bangladeshi village. That means it is a common Bangladeshi village. My dear students, I think all of you can match it and your result is matching with my result. So, in the section C, there are some questions, and firstly the question is, that means the question number 1 is, what type of village does Shamima live in? You have already read the text or passage twice, and from the text you have known that Shamima lives in an ordinary village. That means Shamima lives in a common Bangladeshi village. So the answer is Shamima lives in an ordinary Bangladeshi village. Number 2. What do the people of Bhabanipur village usually do? Have you remembered the previous video that we have seen you in the last class, and in this video you could see that there are some male and female section in a rural area of Manipur, and they were doing their daily activities like the village people do. That means the male section were doing their work in farming in their fields, and the female section are doing their household works, household chores. So the answer is the people of Bhawanipur usually do farming and household chores. Number 3. What has Shamima done to make herself extraordinary? You know that Shamima was an ordinary girl, but with her willpower, with her wish, she makes her an extraordinary girl. So, here you can write the answer likely. Shamima has made a small boutique called Oiko Nari Kalyan Samostha in her village to make herself extraordinary. So, the result is Shamima has made a boutique shop named Oiko Nari Kalyan Samostha to make herself extraordinary. So, that is the C section in your textbook. Then come to number D section. That means section number D was your previous homework. I think all of you have completed it very carefully. Now it's time to lesson 2. My dear students, the name of the title of the lesson 2 is flashback. Flashback means, or the Bengali meaning of the word flashback is phire dekha, to get back, to return back to something or to some happening. My dear students, it's a point to be noted that when you write these words separately, that means these two words acts like a verb. But when you write in that way, it works as a noun. So the word flashback means to return back, to get back to something or to some happening. Here you can find some new words or keywords, and you have to know the meaning all of these words. Firstly, it is stand. Stand is a process. When you hear something astonishing and stranger, you got astonished. So then you are stand, you got stuck. So the word stand means an act of getting astonishment. That means an act of astonishment. The Bengali meaning of the word stand is stobdo hawa, bakruddo hawa. Number 2 is admiration. When someone did very good deeds, then she or he deserves our approval and we praise her or him. So it's called admiration. Admiration is the process of getting approval, and when someone praises someone for her or his good deeds, it's called admiration, means proshonsha. Number 3 is adolescent. My dear students, adolescent is a period of time that comes before adulthood. You are the example of adolescent. Now you are reading in class 8 and you are in the phase of adolescence. So the word adolescent means kishore. And lastly, we have the word hit. Hit means notice, লক্ষ্য করা. There is some phrasal verbs or phrasal words in your books, and in that or in them there is the word pay heed to. Pay heed to means to get attention to someone's work. It's called pay heed to, and heed means notice. My dear students, now I will read through the text in your book and please listen to me. Shamima started to tell us her story. Listening to her, we were stunned. Stunned means astonished. We were stunned, and at the same time our hearts were filled with admiration for her. That means we praises her for her works, for her good deeds. It was 1995. Shamima was 15 years old. She got promoted to class 8. Shamima had all the dreams of an adolescent. Adolescent means the period of time that comes before going to the phase of adulthood. She wanted to bring about means to happen something. Bring about a change in her life. She wanted to see happiness in her family too. She knew she could fulfill her dream by completing her education and getting a good job. My dear students, please notice that by is a preposition, and after preposition, if there is a verb, you will have to add ing with this or with that verb. So the line is, she knew she could fulfill her dream by completing her education and getting a good job. You can underline the word completing and getting. 15-year-old Shamima's dreams were nipped in the bud. Here we have another phrasal word, that means nipped in the bud. Nipped in the bud means the thing that destroyed in the very beginning stage, and you know that bud means the initial stage of a flower. So the phrase nipped in the bud means the thing that destroyed in the very beginning period. Her father wanted to marry her off against her will. Though she had not consent to marry someone, but her father wanted to marry her off against her will. Marrying off a girl under 18 is against the law in Bangladesh. You know that marrying off a girl under 18 is like a crime. Shamima did not want to get married, but nobody paid any heed to her. That means nobody paid any attention to her speech. They arranged her marriage with a man much older than her. All her tears and protest went in vain. In vain means though there is a word but the result is 0. Though Shamima protests, but her all protests went in vain. Shamima was married off to Kamaluddin Juardar, and lastly, the thing was happened and Shamima was married off to Kamaluddin Juardar. My dear students, in your textbook, there is in the B section some multiple choices, and in the C section there are some questions, and in the D sections there you have to write a paragraph or composition about a person who has suffered or struggled like Shamima, and you have to use these words: pay it to, nip in the bud, and in vain. So all of these are for your homework, and I think you will do your homework very carefully. And thank you everybody. That's all for today's class, and again I want to say thank you for watching this video.